Hey everybody, my name is Yvette and I'm coming to you from Yvette Marie's Fine Arts and Crafts, and today's video is going to be a tutorial on how to make this simple baby newborn size baby cocoon. I'll have a separate video to make the matching hat, but this video here specifically is just for the cocoon. If you haven't already done so and you're not familiar with how to do a double crochet or how to do the magic circle that we're going to use for today's project, go ahead and check out my other videos, and I've got a couple videos on that, and I'll try to remember to leave the links at some point in this video on how to get to those as well. And today I'm going to be using one of my favorite yarns that I use for a lot of my baby products, Yarn Bee Soft Secret, and we are going to be using red just for this particular tutorial today. You can find this yarn at Hobby Lobby stores, and it's one of my favorite yarns because it is so soft and silky and it's great for baby skin. And oh, one more thing. To make the particular cocoon and hat that we're going to be making for today, the combination only requires one skein of this yarn to complete the whole set. You'll also just need a pair of scissors, a yarn needle for weaving in the ends at the end of the projects, and a size J crochet hook. So if you'd like to get your products together, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's get started on our newborn cocoon. And this is just a simple cocoon you can make to match just a simple hat. You can use this for a boy or a girl in any color. And we're going to start off with our magic circle or magic loop. If you're not familiar with how to do a magic circle or magic loop, you can check out my YouTube channel for instructions on how to do that. This is an adjustable loop so that it closes tightly, similar to this here on the hat on one of my previous videos. It closes nice and tight and secure, and I'll show you how to do that on my other video on how to actually do the magic loop. So we're going to go ahead and start off by creating the magic loop, and we're going to chain 3. We're going to be using a double crochet stitch for this, and so our chain 3 is actually going to count as our first double crochet. You'll notice in my magic loop or adjustable loop, whatever you want to call it, I've got my tail over to the end here on the left hand side. I do that for the first 2 stitches, which includes my my chain 3 and my first double crochet into the center of my circle. Then I'm going to push the tail to the right hand side and continue with 8 more double crochet into the center of the circle. And the reason I like to do that with the tail is only on the first 2, is it makes it a lot easier to pull and tighten the loop when I need to. If I leave it over to the left hand side and I create my double crochet stitches around it with this hiding underneath it, it's a lot more difficult to tighten. Sometimes it gets stuck and kind of tightens and pulls inside these inside of the double crochets or the whatever stitch I'm using and working around the edge, and it's not as easy to pull closed. So we've got 3 double crochets, including the first set of 3 chains, and I'm just going to work 7 more double crochets into the center of my loop. Now I'm going to go a little bit slow for beginners, but I'm not going to go too slow so that the intermediate and seasoned crocheters can watch this too without me going too slow. So if you're a beginner crocheter, you'll want to check out my video on how to do the magic loop or the magic circle, and you'll want to check out the videos on how to do a double crochet. So let me see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. However, I will give a little bit of a detailed instructions on some portions of this for newbies, so that new crocheters can also complete this project. So once I get my 10, and that's including the one on my loop on my crochet hook at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull this tail, and you can just kind of put the tail between your fingers, hold your thumb here, and then just pull the tail underneath, and it closes the circle for you. So then I'm going to go ahead and go into my first, the top of my chain 3 here, which you'll see looks like a chain from the top. It's nice and neat. I'm going to go into that stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch that so that it closes and creates a circle now. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, and this is our first row is complete, so now we have 10. If you count around the edges, you're going to have 10 double crochets. So the second row, I'm going to go ahead and double crochet 2 into each of these double crochets that we have here, including this very last one over here, which I normally don't use in most of my patterns except for sometimes at the beginning like this, because we're looking to create 20 by the time we're finished with the next row. So I'm going to double crochet in the same stitch as the chain here, which is this first little one here really close, and then I'm going to go ahead and double crochet 2 into each of the rest of these around. So 1, 2, 1 and 2, and I'll just work this first complete row. On the following rows, I'll just go ahead and do 1 or 2 stitches at the beginning and 1 or 2 at the end, so the newbies are able to work this pattern too, but I won't do every single stitch so that the advanced crocheters don't get too bored and frustrated watching the pattern go by so slowly. So we're just working 2 into each one. I'm going to speed up just a little bit here. Okay, so now at this point I'm going to have 18. And for some of the beginner crocheters, I'm going to show you this a little bit closer. This stitch here is normally one I wouldn't use at the end of my circle. I don't normally count that as a workable stitch at the end like when I write a pattern. Usually it's up to this point here. This one here is really just the ending stitch where we ended up creating our chain 2. But in this case I'm going to use that stitch and work into it just for the first few rows so that I can create the number of stitches I'm wanting to create up to a certain point, and then I'm going to, for the majority of the pattern, I'm going to go ahead and ignore that particular stitch and not work into it. So now we've got our chain 2 and we're at the first stitch here. So at the top of the stitch I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of that stitch again, or chain 3, I'm sorry, the beginning of that row. And I'm going to slip stitch into the beginning of it to close that circle once again. Okay, so that's 2 rows, and at this point we're going to have 20 stitches. Excuse me, 20 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. And the third row I'm going to be creating additional stitches so that by the end of this row we're going to have 29. So in order to do that, I'm going to double crochet 1 in that same stitch as the first chain 3 here, right in the beginning. I'm going to double crochet 1. I'm going to double crochet 1 in the next stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 into this next stitch. And the rest of the way around, I'm going to alternate 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around to the end, so that at the end of the row I'm going to have 29. So we just ended on double crocheting 2 into that one, so go ahead and start here with your double crochet 1, and then the next one will be 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet and 2, all the way around, and I'll meet you right back here at the end of the row. Okay, so in this particular case, on this row, I did not use that one little last stitch in the end. I only went to the one next to it and placed the 2, which ended up being my last stitches for this row, and it gives me 29, including the stitch on the hook here. And now I'm going to go into the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the row again, and I'm going to slip stitch to close the circle again. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. So at this point, this row, this last row we did here, the third row, should have 29 stitches, 29 double crochets. So now we're going to repeat the same pattern on row 4 and row 5. We're going to go ahead and double crochet into that first stitch, 1 double crochet in the second stitch, and then 2 double crochet the third stitch, 1 double crochet the next stitch, 2 double crochet the next, and we're going to alternate around the circle again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way to the end, creating 43 stitches. So I'll meet you back at the end here in just a minute. Okay, so I'm back at the end of the row. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 4th row, and in order to get 43 stitches for this particular row, we're going to do 2 double crochets in the last stitch. So those last 2 stitches are going to have 2 double crochet and 2 double crochet instead of 2 double crochet and 1 double crochet. And we're still avoiding this one little tiny last, very last stitch that's kind of hidden in there. Okay, so now for row 5, we're going to repeat this again. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch the top of my chain 3, or chain 3 from the beginning of the row. I'm going to chain 3 for my new row. I'm going to double crochet in that first stitch. I'm going to go ahead and double crochet 1 in the next one, 2 double crochet in the next one, 1 double crochet in the next one, 2 in the next one, 1 in the next one, etc. So we're going to follow that same pattern all the way around again, and that will result in 63 stitches all the way to the end. So I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so I've got 1 stitch, 1 double crochet left to go into that last chain here. Again, I'm not going to use this little tiny one here for the rest of the pattern from this point on. So now I've got 63, including the one on my hook. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 again to close the circle, and I'm going to chain 3. So at this point, the rest of the pattern is going to be a lot easier from here on out, because basically it's just going to be counting rows. So now we've got 63, which is where we want to be for the rest of our pattern. And for the rest of the pattern, each row, we're just going to place 1 double crochet in each one all the way around, and then at the end of the row we're going to slip stitch again like we always do at the top here, chain 3, and do another double crochet in each all the way around. So for rows 6 through 38, you will just do 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around. And I'll just do a couple here for you. In that first one here, next one, Okay, so we're just going to be placing 1 double crochet in each double crochet around that we've already done. Now, it's a circle now, but it will actually start enclosing as far as like creating this curved shape here. When you're just creating one on top of the other and not double stitching and adding extra stitches, it starts creating a natural curve by itself like it does here in this hat. So I'll check in with you on a few minutes after a few rows when it starts curving, and I'll show you the difference, and then I will just let you work on your own for the rest of the pattern. Then I'll come back at the end just to show you how to complete it and finish off, and we'll be done. I'll check back with you in a few minutes. Alrighty, so I just thought I'd check back with you. We've got I've got 15 rows here, and I just wanted you to see how it's forming once you start doing the individual double crochets in each of the chains, how it starts curving like this so that you have is starting to elongate and be curved so that you're creating the length, and it doesn't just keep going, you know, farther out like that, since we're not adding stitches. Okay, so we're still working with 63 stitches. I will go ahead and come back at the end when you've completed your 38 total rows, and I'll show you how to finish up. See you in just a few minutes. Alrighty, so I'm at the end of row 38, and I've only got just a couple stitches left, so I'm just going to work those here with you at the end, and then I will weave in my tails and we'll tie it off securely. So I've just got a couple stitches left here. Okay, so I'm just going to, in the end, and this is more for the beginner crocheters who might be watching this video, just going to go ahead and slip stitch in the top of that first row, or excuse me, the top of that first stitch of the row we just completed. And let me just grab a pair of scissors. I'm going to leave a tail probably a good 8 inches long or so, maybe 10 inches long. I'm just going to pull that tail. And we're just going to stitch it in through a few of the stitches, and then I'm going to create a knot and tie it off. Now, before I do so, let me just show you the measurement of this full cocoon. So the full cocoon is about 18 inches, and that's pretty long for a cocoon. I like to make my newborn cocoons a little bit extra long. An average baby is usually about 19 to 22 inches, just depending, you know, of course, on genes and stuff. But this cocoon is going to be long enough to go up over the shoulders and even partway over the head. But the reason I do that on purpose is I like to make it long enough, just depending on the size of the baby, and also so that you can fold over the edge if you like to. And you can even change the color on the last few rows if you want to, if you're going to be using it specifically to fold over on the ends, like this here. So, and just so that you have the information too, I suppose, let me go ahead and, it's about 8 inches wide, which would be a 16-inch circle when it's opened at the top. Okay? Just some added information there. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish off the cocoon. And so I'm going to go in a few inches just to leave, just so that when you do fold it down, if you decide to fold it down on the edge, when the baby's wearing it, you won't see the tie off here. So what I do is I just pick up a few of these stitches, and I don't pull too tight because I don't want it to pucker here. And I'm going to double over in those stitches, and that way it's more secure so that when it pulls, it doesn't actually pull, you know, too tight or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and just go through and do that. Again, I'm going to go in a few inches deep into the cocoon, and I don't have anywhere specific I'm picking. I'm just staying kind of close to the last area that I went into so that it doesn't have a string that's going to catch on baby's fingers or anything. Again, doubling over just for security so that it's nice and securely finished off. And that's good. I think that's fine. I'm just going to double over here, and then I like to tie a knot. Actually, I do a double knot. I tie it twice, just for security reasons. Whoops, excuse me, so that it's nice and tight in there, and so that it doesn't unravel when you wash it. And I do recommend hand washing for all of my products when I do sell them as well, just because I find it keeps the product looking so much nicer than if you wash it in a machine and then dry it in the machine. It gets really fuzzy and knotted and yucky looking. Okay, so I've doubled over the knot. And I'm just trying to grab my scissors here, and I'm just going to chop about 1/4 of an inch or so. And you've got your finished cocoon. I will also post a video to make a matching hat, just a plain newborn hat with a double crochet, so that you can have a set if you'd like to with a matching cocoon and hat for newborn. You could use it as a gift or for your own baby. Okay. I hope this project was fun for you, and thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the other video on how to make the matching hat. Have a great day.